What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel once again. If you can read, we're playing with the LaPavoni again. Things have turned up, parts, upgrades, seals, all the things that we need. Almost all the things that we need. It's all right, we're going to make do for the sake of the video for you guys. I'm going to show you what we've got, go from there. So in the last video, we did this and realized we needed this. So here's this. We've got all new seals, O-rings, most of the things we need. One of the things that we were replacing is the shower screen, but because I'm smart, it's just the same one. So I couldn't get the IMS in time, so we're just going to put that one back in for now, just for you guys, for entertainment's sake, and in the background I'll sort that out later. Not an issue. It's exactly the same process. So what we're going to do, start putting it back together using parts that we've received. And of course, we've upgraded to a bottomless portafilter over this guy for a couple of reasons. That just gross, and it's not bottomless. We like to get naked on the channel. And of course, this guy, we've got a custom 51mm tamp for the LaPavoni. How sick is that? If you're interested in that, make sure you send me a message. I can make that happen for you with any picture on there you like. So because I'm still not a millionaire, we're going to be using a tripod setup. I will move the camera closer so you can actually see what I'm doing in a moment. But we are going to go into a lot of details here. And I do want to fill you in on one little secret. At the end of the video, I've got probably the coolest hack I've seen. So what we're pretty much going to do is the last video, but play it backwards. And what I mean by that is we're literally just going to do everything in the same order. No, in the opposite order to how we pulled it apart. Keeping in mind there are a few little things we need to keep an eye on, a couple little greases and lubes and stuff. I'll get stuck into it. I'll stop talking. Let's go. So let's start with the group head, and inside we need to pop the little O-ring or seal or whatever you want to call that inside with that guy facing up. We do want to use a little bit of grease. There's two that come with this kit. One's for rollers and pins, one's for piston and shaft seals. So that's for later. That's just a grease. This is actually a proper lube for O-rings, etc. I do have this in bulk, but I've got this out, so we're going to use it. So a little bit of that, and just dab it on there, spread it evenly. Pop that guy inside. Push it all the way in. It's nice and flat. You should be able to see how far that goes in. Just as far as you can. It'll kind of pop in there. Then you grab your little gold guy, do the same thing. Sit that on top of it. And then the circlip, the fun part. If you don't have circlip pliers, this part's very, very tricky. Tuck the circlip on there like this. Try to get it in there. Good luck getting it first go. Just try the other way. It's probably where you need the straight arms, but I've left those in the garage and it's all the way on the other side of this house. It's pretty much in there. Push it so that it sits inside. That's that part done. Nice and easy. Sit that aside. Come back to that part shortly. Grab your piston shaft, and then we've got these two guys here. Now, in the last video that I made putting one of these together, I made a mistake. These go opposite direction to each other. So if you see how they taper out, one goes up, one goes down. One goes up, down, whatever you want to say. Same. Let's pop some grease on those guys. These are quite tight to get on there. Because my hand's covered in grease, makes it even easier. You'll notice as they go on, they try to sit like this. Just push those bits in, and it kind of pops itself straight. So if you compare that to the first ones that came off this, you can see the difference in how much taper there is. So this is what they're supposed to do to seal. That's why the old seals were just letting the water rush straight through, because they were worn and the taper was gone, so there was just no pressure building up behind them. So don't use anything sharp on these. There we go. That's those installed. That's looking much better than when I took it out. Hopefully you can see that. There we go, much better. Beautiful, very happy with that. Pop that guy aside. Move on to the next thing. So I've popped the main boiler chamber back onto the base off camera because it's really ugly to watch. You do need to be pretty rough with it. You need to get it on there extremely tight. With the O-ring that's on there, this guy here, so that surface should be parallel with the front of the machine, obviously, or it's not straight. It takes a decent amount of force to get it that tight. Once the group head is on, you can get it a little bit tighter, but I wanted to be able to do this to show you how everything goes back together. So now we're going to start reassembling part of the steam wand. At some stage I will do some modifications here, but for entertainment's sake and educational purposes, I want to show you how to do this. It is really simple. There's two O-rings here. We've got the new ones, the tiny little guys that come in the kit. Those guys there. Be gentle with them. They are fairly fragile, especially when you're taking them off. One of them did break as I was removing it. So the first one's on, second one's actually quite a bit trickier because you've got to get it over the first one. There we go, that's on. Grab yourself a little bit of that lubricant and just pop some on there. That guy's ready. So I didn't show the disassembly of this on camera because it's fairly self-explanatory, but when you're putting it back together, this is important. So this is the little steam wand adjusting knob. So what you want to do, chuck one of those washers on, the new seal, other one, and then slide that onto there, and then I'll show you what's next. So as you can see, there's a hole in the top of this shaft, and that knob there, same thing. So we need to slide that in. All the way down, and I've just nailed it, absolutely nailed it. So those holes line up, you grab this pin, and you whack it in there all the way through so that it's even on both edges. There you go. Assembled, ready to reinstall. So grab the body of the machine, grab some more of that lubricant, just on that O-ring there. Be as liberal as you like, don't be scared. First things first, wind the first thread in, just so that it centralizes, and start on that second one. Grab a spanner, don't use shifters. I probably have the right size spanner right there, but it's all the way over there. Make sure you wind it in as you go so that you don't try to force that. It'll actually break the end of the shaft off. Firm, wind that in. That's the steam wand off. So now we're going to reinstall this little valve here. You can do it with or without the little milk guide thing. We don't need that where we're going. I'm not putting that on. That can go in a box somewhere. Pop the valve on and tighten it. So it's starting to look more like a coffee machine. It's missing one very crucial part. We need to install that guy. Now, before we put that guy on, there are two very similar size O-rings that come with this kit. This one here, that is for the knob. So the larger, thicker one is actually for the knob up on top here. The thinner one is for this. So pop that guy on there. It does sit on there fairly freely when they're new. It does squash. You can put some lubricant on there if you like, probably unnecessary, but just in case you're scared of it getting pinched on the install, you can pop a little bit on there. And then we grab this guy. That is the pickup tube installed, sitting on there horribly. I don't like that at all. But sitting on an angle, I don't like that. Perfect. So what you can do, using good circlip pliers, you can hold those holes and actually adjust the angle of that guy there till you get it in the desired spot. That is the desired spot for me. So then carefully place that guy inside, making sure that O-ring is in there. It's not on there, you'll find out when you turn the machine on. Grab your little 10mm bolts, 10mm spanner, and just side by side, a little bit at a time. There is a torque setting that you can do these up to. It's called FT Newton meters. If you know what that means, do it that tight. If you don't know what it means very tight. Now for the fun part, we get to install the new piston, take those little nuts off the top. Now there are a few ways to do this. You can do it off the machine. I prefer to do it on there. Makes it a lot easier. Even though we've lubricated those O-rings, just chuck it up inside. All over there. And then just before you install, lube the shaft. Can't forget to lube the shaft. Okay. Guiding that guy. Sometimes it's easier to turn the machine upside down so you can see what you're doing. And if you have a close look, in the front of the group head, let me see if you can see that there. There's those little cutouts. That will assist you popping something and just pushing to get the O-ring started. We're just going to use a spoon. Doesn't matter what you use, just don't use anything sharp. Pop that in there, just enough to get that edge started. And then run fingernail or the spoon around, just while applying a tiny bit of pressure to keep it inside. And then do it on the other side as well. Now what you want to make sure you do, and this actually comes in really handy for this, if you don't install this, you can use something similar. Pop it through that hole and just make sure that it's aligned with the machine so that we can install those pins shortly. Now this is extremely important. When installing the group head seal, please make sure that you get your camera to focus. Come on. And then there is a rounded edge and a square edge. The rounded edge must go up. So, into the machine that way. Rounded edge, up. Got it? Sweet. I'm going to give it a little bit of lubricant just to help with the install. Chuck that on the group heads, on the shower screen, sorry. Pop that on there. Slowly wiggle its way up. That is in. This, I don't know where this is from. Apparently it might be standard, but I don't like it. This guy, much better. That is in. That feels good. We are almost ready to start putting the rest of the accessories on. Then we can turn it on. This is where we grab the other tub of grease, the external group. That's white, not clear. We grab the new little roller O-ring that came with the kit. Chuck some grease on that. Pop it in the back of the group head. Up the top, you know where it goes. You watched the other video. And again, I will say this again. Make sure that that hole there is pointing down. If it's that way, you won't be able to make good coffee and your machine will probably break. So up that way and then install. So grab the new pins, a little bit of that external grease. Don't be shy. Pop the handle on with those holes pointing down. Pins in the back, pins in the front. And because you listened to me previously, you made sure you turned that shaft to the correct position. Then we can pop the circlips on the back. Watch this fly. Oh, first go. They're done. Then we grab these nuts. Pop that one on. Don't tighten them just yet. There's actually an adjustment in this for something. We'll come back to that shortly. Stay tuned. Oh, that feels nice. So the larger O-ring we were talking about earlier pops on here. The one you've taken off there is probably in the shape of a triangle, just because it's been crushed a few times. It's completely normal. That's what it used to look like. Obviously, we're not putting water in it yet, so I'm just going to pop that there. So it looks like it's almost done. But realistically, if you watch the last video, we're nowhere near done. There's still half the machine missing. This is where we grab our heating element and a new O-ring that I forgot to order. So you didn't forget because you're installing that right now. You know how to do it. You'll be fine. Pop that guy on like that. Quite easy. Grab the bolt and screw it in. Don't forget this. Now this is where, when I disassembled the machine, I took a lot of photos, and you can't see right now, but my camera's on split screen, so I can see what I'm doing. This little guy here, you grab and you pop onto one side of this. It doesn't really matter. And then that one there, hold on, because that goes to one side of the element. Doesn't matter which one. The element, it can actually be installed either way. Doesn't matter. That's the element there. And then the other blue goes to this guy right here. That is on. Realistically, you only have 3 more things to clip in, and you're good. So then we grab the one that is coming from the switch. Coming across, you got the first one. This little guy here goes onto the little thermostat controller. And then the top one from there goes to the other side of the boiler. The element, I'm sorry. You've only got one cable left, and it's pretty simple to work out where it goes. Like that. Looks good. Hopefully I've done it the right way. That's how it was. So if it doesn't work, that means it wasn't the right way when I pulled it apart. Now we're not going to put the base of the machine on just yet because I haven't replaced that O-ring, and even if you have, you want to just double check for leaks while you turn the machine on, or even before you turn it on. But especially once you start getting heat, pressure and temperature into this thing, you may start seeing some leaks, and it'll be coming from the O-ring underneath the element there. Tray can go on, handle can go on. steam one can go on, even though I'm never going to use that on this machine, but it completes it. That's done. The machine is done. So other than the base, that's easy. Literally one screw for some machines. Some of them don't even use it. It literally just sort of clips on there, which is not a great idea. We're ready to put water into it, see if anything leaks. If I'm near certain this is going to leak out the bottom of the element, let's find out. I came prepared, got a little drip tray. I'm near certain that this is going to leak water. If it doesn't, I'll be so surprised. This could be an absolute fail, and we might have to come back to this. But other than that, that's how you put this thing back together. Put the two videos together. You know how to pull it apart and put it back together. Make sure you use that grease. Make sure you use all the new O-rings because it's very important. Now, while this is warming up, I'll let you guys know we do have the group head thermal sticker as well. I've got a few of these. One of them's going on this. I am going to pop one on the cube as well. Then I've got a handful left. If you are after one, send me a message or pop into the cafe and I can help you out with one of these guys. Already the machine is actually sounding a lot healthier than the last time we turned it on. I don't know if that's because we've cleaned the element. I'm not sure, to be honest. It could just be because it's clean. There's not junk rattling around in the bottom, but it definitely sounds better already. And look, so far there is no water sitting in that tray underneath the machine. Like, we could be good, guys. We could be on. One of the things that this machine doesn't have that my previous one did was a little pressure gauge built into the machine as well, which realistically the only thing I ever used it for was to know when the machine was ready. It was up to pressure. Other than that, it's not really a big deal. I've now got the thermal sticker on the group head. As you can see, once that's at the right temperature, I'm going to pull a shot. So I made a little mistake. That little tube on the back on that valve, you do need it because it's actually a little drain for the overpressure valve. So I think it's called an overpressure valve on this thing. You do have to have that, otherwise it spits water onto the machine rather than into the drip tray. So it's not just a guide. You do actually need it. I have a feeling that the valve might actually be buggered on this machine as well because it was leaking quite a bit of water. Let's see. Oh yeah, we're leaking water down the bottom. Cool. I'm going to order more parts because it's leaking water. So I'm going to order that part and then we can come back to it. Awesome. Great. Fantastic. But we did fix the main issue. So the group head seal service, that's perfect. That's complete. I just need all more parts so it stops doing that. So we're back. We've got some more parts to put on the LaPavoni because, yeah. Anyway, like I predicted, there were some leaks. So I'm not going to bore you with doing all the same stuff again. I'm going to pull it down to where we need to get to, pop these parts on, chuck it all back together, flick it on, and hopefully make a coffee with this thing. So we've replaced the element O-ring and the base gasket because I broke it when we were pulling it apart. So it's old. So it's not really much of a surprise that these things are falling apart and not really doing their job. But now they should be. So I've filled it up with water. I've put it in our handy little drip tray just in case. I'm going to switch it on. Let's see what happens. While the machine's warming up, I'm going to show you guys what to do up here. If you wind this top nut out quite a bit and just go all the way down, don't use too much force, and then just watching the gap, if you come back up just a touch, wind that all down and then lock it into position. So exactly where that is. Perfect. So that's just going to stop it from going all the way down and starting to damage things. There is an exact measurement you can do. I've done this every time I've played with one of these and it's perfectly fine. I'm not sure if you can hear that because I'm recording with a mic these days, but I think the valve is closing as we speak. Nothing's leaking. I think we're good. If we give this a few minutes, I should be able to make a coffee. Okay, so we're looking good, guys. I have 20 grams of coffee ready to go. Now, issue with using these is dosing cups don't fit, so you're pretty nifty with these things to get them to go in nicely. So I've done this quite a few times. Back when I had mine, you can get other tools for these. There's a couple of packs. You can actually use the base of a hand grinder. I've done that in the past. Use my funky little custom tamper. And you guys are about to witness the first espresso shot from this machine in a very, very long time. I don't remember how to use these things. I think I definitely should have gone finer on the grinds, but this is some beans I just had in the freezer that I threw in. It's a good test. No leaks. Made an espresso shot. Only got 25 grams out, roughly. On these you can go again, but it's fine. I just wanted to pull an espresso shot, make sure water didn't go everywhere. And you're much better to go a little bit too coarse rather than too fine on these guys, because they have a tendency of sneezing the espresso out if it's too fine. I'm going to taste it just for the sake of it. It's drinkable. It's probably just not going to be amazing. Yeah, it's okay. A little bit sour. That's expected. But there you have it. So there you have it, guys. The LaPavoni Europiccola is fully serviced in working condition, finally. And it works quite well. But don't go anywhere yet, because I have a really, really cool little thing to show you. I was staring at the machine the other night while having dinner. Table was right there. And I had a look at something, because I'm not a fan of this, the handle that came with this naked portafilter. So while I'm sitting here, I pulled the handle off, had a look at the thread, and I'd realised that the thread is the same as my Passato. That's right, that's really hot. So you can take the handle off a Passato, the timber, the black, white, whatever you've got, longest thread in the world, and you can put it on to the LaPavoni. So I think that's pretty cool. I don't believe Passato make a LaPavoni head. They don't need to. So you can put that on that guy. The thread is also matching to the handle. That's right. So whatever you buy this, you can buy for that and make everything match. It'll look amazing. So there's more upgrades coming, of course. Well, I think that's about it, guys. I'm going to dial in the grinder for this guy, make myself a sweet espresso, and you'll be seeing much more of this machine in the future. If you have any questions about this machine, pop it in the comments below. That's it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have yourselves a great day and happy brewing.